God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him, Friedrich Nietzsche wrote in 1882. To understand what the German philosopher meant and what he thought of men, morality, and society as a whole, we collaborated with Professor Stephen Hicks on this Sprout special series. Part 1. God is dead. For thousands of years, humans have been religious, but in the modern world, religion has become a shadow of its former self. Nietzsche's dramatic phrase, "God is dead," is meant to capture the shocking quality of this revelation. For those raised religiously, religion personalized the world. It gave them a sense that the world had a purpose and that they were part of a larger plan. It gave them the comfort that, despite appearances, we are all equal and cared for, and that upon death, instead of a cold grave, a possible happily ever after ending awaits. But in the modern world, we find it increasingly hard to believe those values. We have seen the dramatic rise of science, which has offered less comfortable answers to questions religion traditionally had a monopoly on. We have thrown off the shackles of feudalism with its unquestioning acceptance of authority and have become more individualistic and naturalistic in our thinking. But in historical time, all of this has happened very quickly. For millennia, we have been religious, but come the 19th century, even the average man had heard that religion may have reached the end of its journey. For most of us, even the suggestion of this hints at a crisis. Imagine a 13-year-old who is awakened in the middle of the night to be told by strangers that both his parents have died. He is suddenly an orphan. For as long as he can remember, his mother and father were present in his life, looking after him and guiding him. Now they are gone, and ready or not, he is thrust into that world alone. How does the young teen handle that sudden transition? Culturally, Nietzsche says, we are like that young teen. For as long as we can remember, our society has relied upon God the Father to look after us. But now, suddenly, we are orphaned. We wake up one morning to discover that in our heart of hearts, our naively childhood religious beliefs have withered. So now, whether we like it or not, a question creeps into our minds. How do we face the prospect of a world without God and religion? In the 19th century, says Nietzsche, most people did not face that question well. Most people avoid the issue, sensing that even to raise it would be to enter dangerous territory. Life without religion is too scary to contemplate, so they retreat to a safety zone of belief and repeat nervously the formulas they have learned about faith. Slightly better to Nietzsche, but not much, are the socialists of the 19th century. Socialism is on the rise, and many socialists accept that God is dead. But then they are very concerned that the state take God's place and look after them. The mighty state will provide for us and tell us what to do against the mean people of the world. Think of it this way. The Judeo-Christian tradition says this is a world of sin, in which the weak suffer at the hands of the strong, that we should all be selfless and serve God and others, especially the sick and helpless. And that in a future ideal world, heaven, the lion will lie down with lamb, and the inescapable power of God will bring salvation to the meek and judgment to the wicked. The socialist tradition says this is a world of evil exploitation, in which the strong take advantage of the weak. But we should all be selfless and sacrifice for the good of others, especially the needy, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. and the forces of history will necessarily bring about a future ideal world that will end all harsh competition, empowering the oppressed and eliminating the evil exploiters. Both religion and socialism thus glorify weakness and need. Both recoil from the world as it is, tough, unequal, harsh. Both flee to an imaginary future realm where they can feel safe. Both say, be a nice boy, be a good little girl, share, feel sorry for the little people. And both desperately seek someone to look after them, whether it be God or the state. So where, asks Nietzsche, are the men of courage? Who is willing to stare into the abyss? Who can stand alone on the icy mountaintop? Who can look a tiger in the eye without flinching? To be continued. Nietzsche, who was born in 1884, was not only a fierce critic of church and socialism, but also nationalism and anti-Semitism. His strong moral stance meant that he openly condemned many of his intellectual friends and even broke his relationship with his own sister, who married a notorious anti-Semite. So, what are your thoughts on Nietzsche? Do you agree with his understanding of the world we live in? For more information about this extraordinary man and his impact on our society, check the descriptions below. There you'll also find a link to Stephen Hick's full account of the German philosopher. This and all other Sprouts videos are licensed under Creative Commons. That means teachers from all around the world can use them in classrooms, online courses, or to start projects. And today, thousands already do. To learn how it works and download this video without ads or background music, check out our website or read the description below. If you want to support our mission and help change education, visit our Patreon. That's patreon.com/sprouts. If we show you a random shape, your eyes will send the information to your brain, which will then decide what to do with it. Perhaps not much. If we show you another shape, your senses will again send it to your brain, but now it might be able to find some related information that was stored in your memory. What's going on here? You may have forgotten, but when you were young, you knew nothing. The first time you saw a particular shape, it was meaningless. Over time and in search for order, you started to recognize patterns. One day, someone gave that particular thing meaning. Your mind labeled it as important and decided to store it for future use. The next time you see that thing, you recognize it and link it to a previous experience. The more often you make such meaningful experiences, the more data will be stored in your memory and your understanding of that matter grows. And one day, when you see that particular shape, you'll say, "It's an ape." And if you give your mind some time to look up all those memories, it might come up with lots of things you can relate to this one piece of digital ink. So, how does your memory work? The multi-store model asserts that the human brain has three processors: a sensory register when new information enters, a short-term memory which quickly assesses the input, and a long-term store where it can potentially be held forever. We need attention to get things to the short-term memory, rehearsal to hold it there for longer, and transfer for sending it to long-term storage and bringing it back. Let's now try to understand how everything interacts. Our life is a continuous stream of stimuli that we perceive in different ways. There are our senses such as vision, touch, smell, hearing, and taste. There are internal states such as stress, sleepiness, or hunger. And there are emotions, wants, and intentions. All of them are part of the sensory input that our brain has to process all the time. The sensory register can perceive any such new stimuli. They are then filtered by attention processes and decomposed into manageable chunks. These chunks of information are then sent further. The short-term memory holds the new info for a moment. Then it will either forget it, transfer it to the long-term memory, or instantly use it by bringing it to our attention. Also known as working memory, our attention can hold about 7 bits of information for a few seconds to complete a task. If we pay attention, our brain can send fresh memories to the long-term store. This happens especially well when we rest. During sleep, we tend to consolidate important things and discard others, which we then forget. The long-term memory is a vast library of stories, experiences, facts, and concepts, some of which we can recall for life, and others we are unable to remember the next day. Inside this long-term store are again different types of memories. There are episodic memories, which are chunks of detailed information with a high emotional value, such as all your stories, some of which you might be able to recall in great detail, like the first day of school or your first kiss. Maybe you can even recall some specific thoughts from that day. There are semantic memories, things like facts or general knowledge. Repeated episodic memories, like the way to school, can also, over time, turn into semantic information. You can think of such memories as a large network of ideas. If you see a particular shape, you may think gorilla, ape, human, intelligence. Episodic and semantic memories are known as explicit memories. They are conscious recollections. They are all the information and experiences we know we hold. There are also implicit memories, skills and things you are not aware of. The process of walking relies on muscle memory. You've learned it by trying and failing, and today you have no idea how you actually do it. Implicit memories are also at work when we unconsciously react to a stimulus, a process known as conditioning. To make things more complicated, our memories often change. Sometimes we forget parts, sometimes we add new details to old memories in response to how we feel right now. When we think of a holiday we took with someone we don't like anymore, a trip that was actually nice might be remembered as unpleasant today. So next time you see this or that shape, you might want to pause and pay tribute to the fact that there are more connections in your brain than stars in the universe, here to help you organize inputs, thoughts, and memories to get you through life. Now, the best thing about memories is still creating them. Trying new things, failing, and then trying them again is one good way to do just that. If you like how we explain complicated ideas in simple cartoon animation, you can support us. Visit patreon.com/sprouts. Just visit us, learn how it works and what's in it for you. We hope to see you there. And if you are a parent or educator, check out our website, sproutschools.com. There you can find this and other video lessons, additional resources, and classroom activities. Once upon a time, there was a boy who was born into a family of simple tailors in the middle of sub-Saharan Africa. The boy's father wanted him to continue the family business, but the boy wanted a better life and one night decided to leave his home and go to Europe. To cross the sea, the boy built himself a raft, but once he left the shore, there was only a little wind and it didn't take long for his supplies to run out. And there he was, hungry and lonely, floating in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. Imagine you live on the coast of southern Europe and one morning read about the boy's fate in a local paper. Should you yourself try to save him? 4 influential philosophers, Aristotle, Mill, Kant, and Nietzsche, can help us answer this and other difficult moral questions with their respective theories. Virtue theorists like Aristotle ask how to live a good life. The best life, according to him, is the life of someone who demonstrates excellence in aspects of a virtuous character, the capacities for emotion, theoretical ideas, and practical wisdom. Aristotle would argue that if helping the boy is a manifestation of a personality that's virtuous, then you should save him, because being a person of good character is what matters. What that exactly means differs for every one of us. If you are rich and powerful, saving the boy could be easy. It might still be the right thing to do, but it doesn't reveal much of your personality and hence isn't particularly virtuous. If you have little to no means, your decision to save the boy is much harder. If you still try to do so, then this truly reveals character, is virtuous, and is something you should probably try doing. Utilitarians such as John Stuart Mill ask which action increases well-being for most people. So when faced with a choice, they do what seems most beneficial to most people, as if they could calculate what consequences lead to the highest net happiness. When thinking about saving the boy's life, you should consider all the happiness the boy and his family get, the joy it may bring you, and the benefits for society now and for generations to come. This you then compare with what else you could be doing, known as your opportunity costs. For example, instead of risking your life at sea, you could work the day in a coffee shop and donate the money you make to an effective charity which then saves 2 kids from starvation somewhere else. Comparing the 2 options, you decide not to save the boy, but instead work, donate, and double the total potential well-being of humanity. Some call this effective altruism. Deontologists like Immanuel Kant focus on the intent rather than consequences. They believe in universal moral laws such as don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. The golden rule is the so-called categorical imperative. Our decisions are then morally right when they can become a rule everyone else should follow. If you help the boy because it makes you look good, your intentions are wrong because you treat him as a means to an end, and we don't want to live in a world in which false heroism is a universal moral norm. If you save the boy because you want to live in a world in which helping those in need is always the right thing, then you should do that. You should even do so if you have reason to believe that the kid may end up taking advantage of your kindness. Friedrich Nietzsche would ask what's in your own interest. He argued that self-interested behavior is morally right as it makes us stronger. And if we are stronger, so is society. Acting against your own interest is immoral because it hinders this development. So if you want to help the boy because you think that is good for you, do it. Help the boy. But if you think saving the boy could hurt you, don't. It's not your responsibility to save those who are too weak to help themselves. So what do you think? Did any of the 4 help you with that decision? If not, here is one more idea. Scholar Moshe Koppel made the interesting observation that utilitarians and Kantians don't use their own moral principles when trying to falsify each other's theories. Both rather appeal to a feeling, as if we all, inside us, actually know what's right and what's wrong. Kantians would say, you don't want to live in a world in which children die in the open because you decided to save 2 strangers instead. Such behavior just doesn't feel right. correct? Utilitarians would counter, surely you wouldn't want to save, say, a psychopath from drowning who then go on to kill you and your family just because helping people is always right by principle. That just feels wrong, right? So now tell us, would you save the boy, and why? Is your decision based on the character you strive to become, an analysis of costs and benefits, behavior we want to see in the world, for your own self-interest, or does it maybe just feel right? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like how we explain complicated ideas in simple cartoon animation, you can support us. Visit patreon.com/sprouts. Just visit us, learn how it works and what's in it for you. We hope to see you there. And if you are a parent or educator, check out our website, sproutsschools.com. There you can find this and other video lessons, additional resources, and classroom activities. If you found this helpful, check out our other videos and subscribe. If you want to support our work, join us on patreon.com/sprouts. For more information and additional content, visit sproutsschools.com.